geometry on a whiteboard.
That's really good.
It's 10 times easier on a whiteboard with a marker.
Should I write first name and last name, or last name then first name?
Last name first, first name last. はい、じゃあ始めましょう。ノートを出してください。So, ノート、remember ノート notebook? ノートを出してください。Take out your notebooks. ノートを出してくださいね。じゃあ日本の番号。日本語の番号ですね。はい。Japanese numbers.
How do you say Japanese in Japanese?
日本語。
日本語
これはね、日本語の番号。
I know lots of Japanese.
日本の番号。So, これはね、you're going to learn this later. こののはね、this is like apostrophe. So, 日本の番号。So, Japanese is numbers. 日本の番号。Okay.
ありがとう。
どういたしまして。じゃあ、はじめはね、1、1. I'm going to write the kanji at the bottom too, so you can understand the kanji pretty easily. You're not required to know it. Next is ni. Oops. Ni. Ni. Next is san. 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 Next is shi or yong. Okay? Next is go. Okay. Go. Next is roku. Oh, so roku. Roku. 6. Roku. Next is shichi. Shichi. それでも7.
How do you say I don't understand in Japanese?
わかりません.
Wakarimasen.
But you'll learn that later. With baby steps. Next is hachi. Hachi. 8. Hachi. Next is ku or kyuu. So ku or kyuu. 9. That is. Next is ju. Oops. That is 10. And then the last one is zero. Right? Really hard one, but pretty good one. Zero. That's zero. Or 0. And the kanji for that one, they just usually use a 0. But the kanji for this one, it's like. Oops. Not writing that very well. Let's start that over. And show. 0. But you don't need to know that. It's like they just use 0. Okay? about 2 minutes to
So
write
you
these.
just write it regularly 0?
Yeah. So Japanese is a lot like, well, no, it's not. We use Arabic numerals. So we just put numbers in places until you get to the end, to the last place. So Japanese, they will use almost like Roman numerals. What they'll do is say, if we were going to write 43,219. Japanese would write Yon Man, which is the 10,000 marker. San Zen, this is the 1,000 marker. Ni Hyaku, this is the 100 marker. Ju, Q. And so this is how Japanese write their number system. It's a lot more difficult than what we just write the number. That's it. And we figure out the places ourselves. Japanese will actually put place counters there. So there are 4 of 10,000s. There are 3 of thousands. There are 2 of hundreds. There is 1 10. So if there was 50, then there would be a 5 here, right? Okay, but there's only 1. So there's a 10, and then there's a 9 at the very end, which is the place marker for single units. So Japanese actually will put lines of unit counters before the number. So like 4 10,000s, 3 thousands, 2 hundreds, 1 10, 1 9. And that's how Japanese use counting. Now at most registers, they will just use the number amount plus this symbol here, which is yen. Okay, just like we have the $, they have the yen sign. Okay? But most registers will just use the American, the numeral, like the Arabic numerals. But the traditional way of counting is this with these place markers. What's even crazier is they have a document number for each of these, and those are even more complex and difficult. But they're only for formal documents.
Do they just do this to bullet points?
Pardon? Well, again, you got to realize like they got this all from China, and they didn't really know what to do with it. So they just kind of let the chips fall as they may. All right, so notice that these two have 2 readings. Does anyone know? I know some of you guys are like upper level people in the anime watching category. Does anyone know why 4 has 2 readings? It has shi and yon. Does anyone know? Come on, someone had to have heard this before. Do you know?
Huh? Me? No.
No, her. No? You look like...
I believe 4 also means death.
Oh, you are so correct. So 4 shi also is the same reading as shi, or death.
That's why you'll never find like a 4th floor like
Yeah, well, it's changed. You know, like it used to be like that. Now, I mean, I know when I took my family to Chiba. We landed near Tokyo. We stayed the night at the hotel because we were just all so tired. And our room number was 402, which is like the worst number to get. And it literally means shini, which means go to death or die. So, and that would never be in a normal, like, older hotel. So things have changed quite a bit. Or it might be just they thought, it's a foreigner, type hotel, so no one's going to notice. But shi means death. So a lot of times people will count with yon. And it's common that they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, sorry, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's the same thing with shichi. Shichi also is kind of hard to pronounce, but it also has shi in it. And so a lot of times people will use nana to count. So formally, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the formal way to count. Informally, a lot of people will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So either one is interchangeable. Now there are some counters that use one or the other. And the real frustrating thing with Japanese is that Japanese has a lot of counters. So if you count people, it's hitori, 1 person, futari, 2 people, 3 nin, 3 people, 4 nin, 4 people. If you count dogs, it's 1 piki, 1 dog, 2 hiki, 2 dogs, 3 piki, 3 dogs, 4 hiki, 4 dogs. If I count magic markers, 1本, 2本, 3本, 4本. Right? So that's the one really frustrating thing about Japanese. I hope you're still willing to learn this wonderful language. But this is the basic counting for nothing. Okay? Like papers, 1枚, 2枚, 3枚, 4枚. You'll get that later. We're not dealing with it now. It's going to be 2 weeks down the line. So now let's go ahead and read together, including those people on the video right over there. Let's go ahead. 1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4,
or 4,
4,
5,
5,
6,
6,
7.
7.
Notice that the I sounds don't even come out. Except for the last one, like shichi. Like they don't say shichi. It's actually more like a shichi. 7,
7,
8,
8,
9,
9,
or kyuu.
9.
And this depends on what you're saying. So, for example, like September is kugatsu, right? But 9 slender objects is kyuu hong. So it depends on what you're reading. 10. Everyone say with me, 10.
10.
And 0.
0.
Notice it's not 0. It's 0.
0.
0. Okay, so, and Japanese when they say the alphabet too, like if you're, anyone here from Canada? Anyone? England? No? But like, you know, the last letter is Z in Canada and England. And so they're like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, Y, and Z. And so they say Zero. Right? So that'll help you remind you. Okay, so let's say it one more time together quickly. Ichi,
1,
ni,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4,
or 4,
4,
5,
5,
6,
6,
7,
7,
8,
8,
9,
9,
or Q,
9,
10,
10,
and 0.
0.
Okay, yes.
I just noticed that san not means 3 not only in Japanese but also Chinese.
And that's very common as well. So,
San.
so they, what's the word? They, you know, they split up. Well, the Japanese pulled the Chinese in about 1,400 years ago. And so but now the pronunciations are very, very different. Because Chinese is mutated, Japanese is mutated, they've become very different languages. Any questions about these? She is right when she says there are, I mean, my old apartment building in Osaka, they did not have a 4th floor. They did not have a 4th floor. So usually buildings that are older than the 80s or 90s will not have a 4th floor. It'll go, literally the elevator will go 1, 2, 3, 5.
Then what will they do with like the 4?
They just skip to the
The
next floor.
4th
They
is
don't
just
call
the
it the
5th
4th
one?
floor. Yeah, exactly. So they'll actually skip it. And in Japan, you don't give, like for example, if you give gifts to people, you never give 4 gifts. You know, 4 is just seen as kind of like a bad number because it is the same as shi or death. Kind of like 13 for us. A very good number is 8. 8 is seen as kind of like a spreading number because the symbol itself looks like spreading out. And so like they'll say happo bijin, like 8 direction beauty, which means like a girl that tries to like be nice to everybody. Roku is kind of a good one. Kyuu is kind of a good one because kyuu also means long, so long life. So kyuu say like long life. But 4 is a very bad one. All right, any other questions? Nobody. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do an exercise. We've got a few minutes, no more than a few minutes. We've got about 35. So notice that you got sumimasen, so we're going to learn these phrases as well. So those of you at home, make sure you pay attention, write these down. So, mo ichido. What does it say there? Onegai shimasu. I'm going to put kudasai.
Wait, do we like to write this down?
Yes. Yeah, all right. Okay, so these phrases are for me. So, Noah, if I'm going too fast, make sure you yell at me. Because probably half the class is like, what was happening? Yep. Okay, exactly. So, mo ichido kudasai. Say it one more time, or one more time. Mo ichido kudasai. Mo ichido kudasai.
Mo ichido kudasai.
You guys are jumping ahead of me here. Mo ichido kudasai literally means like one more time. Okay? So that's a very good. Kudasai is the universal way of saying please. Mo ichido means one. Ichi. Ichido, one time. So mo ichido, one more time please. Okay? I'll have you guys say it in a second. Yukkuri means slow. So it literally means slow please. Yukkuri kudasai. So it literally means like go slow please. Yukkuri kudasai.
Like slow down?
Slow down what you're saying. I can't understand you. Yukkuri kudasai.
Yukkuri kudasai.
All right, and then the last one, chotto matte kudasai. Chotto matte kudasai means wait a sec. Okay? And this can be anything from like, please wait, to like if somebody, like a stranger touches you on the train, you'll hear women say like, chotto matte kudasai. Leave me alone. So it can mean a lot of things. It's very universal. In fact, if girls get ticked off, they'll usually just go, chotto! And that means like, leave me alone.
Chotto.
Yeah. It means, leave me alone. Yes?
Aren't there trains in Japan mainly for women?
Yeah, there were around the early 2000s. You had the middle train. It was designated for only women. And that's been like that for a very long time now.
Still like that?
Yeah, during rush hour.
Why is it only women?
Well, they have a thing called chikan, and so men will like, if you've ever been in a Tokyo train, it's like, sardines in a can. You're like this, and so some guys will try to touch the women. And so the problem with it is, when you get, it's not really nowhere but Tokyo where this happens. But if a guy will do that, and then he'll just rush off the train, and nobody's going to see where the guy went. Right, so they have a female-only train, so they don't have to worry about it. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to leave that on the video right there. Hopefully it got on the video. Put it over there.
I have a question about Zoom meetings. Like, how often are we supposed to go on Zoom meetings?
if you're in this class, you do not need to go on Zoom meetings on Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I've been told.
Or Wednesday?
All you need to do is check your work and check the videos.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say these together, and I'm going to go ahead and end the tape. Mo ichido kudasai.
もう一度ください。
Mo ichido kudasai.
もう一度ください。
Right? Just like that Britney Spears song, you know, Hit Me Baby One More Time. Okay? Yukkuri kudasai.
ゆっくりください。
Yukkuri kudasai.
ゆっくりください。
そして、ちょっと待ってください。
あ、ちょっと待ってください。
ちょっと待ってください。
ちょっと待ってください。
So, yeah, もう一度ください。ゆっくりください。そして、ちょっと待ってください。All right, so that's what we learned today.